Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I almost forgot what day it was then, where we're going to be having a look at another Fog of War puzzle after yesterday's joy of Oddlyeven's Circles in the Mist. Do check that out if you haven't had a look at it. That is an absolute worldie. We're going to be having a look today at a puzzle called Viper in the Fog by Jolly Rogers. Now, I've been warned, I need to give you guys a warning about this one. This is meant to be much harder than yesterday's puzzle. I have read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and they seem great to me. I think this sounds fascinating. But this has 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and 1 or 2 of the testers did find this a notch more difficult. But I'll get to the rules in a moment or two's time and read them to you properly. Before we kick off today, we are really closing in on 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think we're about 300 subscribers short. It's incredible. The moment we get there, we're going to be releasing a brand new puzzle pack featuring puzzles by some of the names that have featured in our videos over the years, some of the great names. And just to say thank you to the community. So that will be available for download the moment we get there, if indeed we do. You never know with the YouTube algorithm. But to all those of you who've joined us on this journey, thank you so much. It's crazy. It is just crazy that our little corner of the internet, where we do videos about logic twice a day now, every day since the first pandemic, has acquired this level of interest, I suppose. So that's one thing we've got going on. Now, the other thing, of course, is over on Patreon, it is now the final day to enter the Lord of the Rings Sudoku hunt. This is Blob's absolutely wonderful Sudoku quest. Well, today the quest comes to the end. So if you want to get the ring into the fires of Mount Doom in time to enter the competition, you're running out of hours to do it. We are a bit generous with this because we recognise that time zones, people may be in time zones that are not the same as ours, but definitely try and get your answers to us soon if you want to be in with a chance of winning. What else do I need to mention? I don't know. Or birthdays and other announcements. Let me do that. Now, this birthday is for tomorrow. Amy, you're turning 20 tomorrow. And I know this because your sister Megan wrote to us. And apparently you enjoy our consistent and calming videos. Well, Amy, thank you very much for watching. I hope tomorrow is a brilliant birthday, and I hope you get chocolate cake, of course. Next, Julie. Now, Julie, it's not your birthday, but I understand that today, from your boyfriend Dominic, today you are retiring as a high school math teacher, I guess that should be, after 32 years working at a school. Well, I think at least latterly working at a school in New Jersey. And I am assured by Dominic that you are a very smart and very lovely person. So Julie, well, congratulations on your retirement. And you've had a job that I thought I would enjoy for many years, actually. High school maths teacher. When I used to, for some sin I must have committed in a former life, when I used to have to work in the city, I always used to dream of being a maths teacher. So, Julie, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you really enjoy your retirement. And then the last message is to David. And I know this message is late in many ways, David, but your friends Hunter and Alex would like to say a belated happy birthday to you. And Alex, thank you for your email. It was extremely moving. And I will move swiftly on before I become emotional and have a look at this puzzle. Let's have a look at Viper in the Fog by Jolly Rogers. These are the rules of this one. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, which means we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. The grid is partially covered in fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. No guessing is required, so don't guess. That is not the idea of these puzzles. Digits in a circle must appear within the 4 surrounding cells. So here we can see that there is a 7 and a 9 in a circle, and that means that these 4 squares must include a 7 and a 9. Now, what else have we got here? Don't worry, there are more rules. Draw a single 1-cell wide snake of orthogonally connected cells which begins and ends in box 4. The snake can touch itself orthogonally and diagonally, but must not branch or overlap. So we have to build a snake that's going to go around the grid, but it's going to start and end in box 4. And so I don't know if I think I've obeyed the rules there, because it can touch itself diagonally. So it has touched itself diagonally there. Actually, so we could do 2 touches diagonally like that. So I think this might be a valid snake, but there are more rules to do with the construction of this snake. Oh, by the way, when it says of orthogonally connected cells, that means cells that share an edge with one another. So what we couldn't do is something like this. That is not a valid snake, because the snake sort of goes to here, goes to this point, and then rather than moving to an orthogonally connected cell, it moves to a diagonally connected cell, this one. Orthogonally means shares an edge with, so we can't do that. We'd have to have something like this. Anyway, let me explain how the snake moves. It then says box n must contain n amount of snake cells. And within this box n, the digit n must appear on the snake. Boxes are numbered in normal reading order. So this is box 1, this is box 2, this is box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, box 7, box 8, box 9. And then as an example, it says, e.g., box 5, so that's this one, must contain exactly 5 snake cells. Oh, so I've already messed it up. There's, let's see if we can remedy this quickly. There we go. One of these snake cells must be the digit 5, yes, because that's in box 5. So in this box, the snake has to have 4 cells, and one of those digits will be a digit 4, etc. Okay, and then we get box borders divide the snake into segments which sum to either 1, 5, 10, 15 or 20. So there's sort of a region sum line idea going on. Cells which are not part of the snake. Cells which are not... so I have messed it up for another reason, because it then says cells which are not part of the snake must be able to orthogonally connect to the grid boundary. So can you see why I've messed this up? Because these squares here, they're a sort of pond in the middle of the snake. And that's not allowed. We're not allowed to build any ponds in our snake. We're going to have to do quite some remedying. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I suppose we could shorten the snake, and then this could get out and touch the boundary like that. There can be no puddles in the middle of our snake. That's what we've learnt. And let's just talk about the region sum line. So box borders divide the snake into segments. So if we were to try and pinpoint the segments, this would be a 1-cell segment, which I suppose could exist because this could contain a 1 or a 5. Then those 3 have to add up to 1, 5, 10, 15 or 20, because that's a new segment, isn't it? And then the box borders again divide the snake into those 3 cells, so they have to add up to 1, 5, 10, 15 or 20. So do those, so do those, so do those. Like you can see, I've got a very similar pattern, and these 2 would also have to be a new segment. So they are the rules. Fascinating. It sounds really cool, this one. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I have to confess that I'm going to start in box 9, because this whole box is covered in snake. Because this is box 9, so it has to have 9 snake cells. Now, okay, there's another thing that's useful though, isn't there? Because we know that the start and the end of the snake are in box 4, and that means that the snake must move continuously through box 9, and that means we should consider the corner, I think. Because this square here Actually, how am I going to draw my snake today? Should I use lines? I'm wondering, because with the fog, sometimes if I shade on top of, like if I shade those digits, I can't tell whether the fog's been cleared from under them, so I think I'm going to go to the line tool. Okay, so let's look at this square. This square must be on the snake, and it can't be the end of the snake, so the snake must go in and out of that square. Now, the whole of this box has to be covered in snake. Right, okay. That is true, but what we can't do anything like this, can we? Because that would be a single segment of snake. The box borders have not divided that, and there is a secret that we can avail ourselves of to know that that must be wrong. And the secret is something I share with only my very favourite people, but if you're watching this, you are definitely one of my favourite people. The secret is that a complete box of a Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each because of the rules of Sudoku. And if you add up the digits 1 to 9, you get 45. So a 9-cell segment would add up to 45, and that's not one of the valid segment sums, which are 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. So basically, they're all divisible by 5, except for the number 1. So, what does that mean? That means... Well, okay, what's the triangular number for 6 is a good question, I think. And the triangular number for 6 is 21. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. So in fact, nowhere in this puzzle is there a 6, 7, 8 or 9 cell segment. Because if there was ever a 6-cell segment, it would sum to at least 21, and that's bigger than the maximum size of segment I'm allowed to build. Now, that is very interesting here, because that means that the maximum length of this segment is 5. But we know that the snake is continuous through box 9, so it has to, I think it has to go to those 2 squares to get out within, if it wriggles at all, if the snake does that, then this must continue because there aren't 2 snakes, there's only 1. And now we've already had our 5 segments, so to get out, we'd have to take a 6th cell, which we can't do. So I think we have to do that. And we have to escape. So now this cell has become a corner of the snake. And, well, okay, yeah, and actually this segment that I've just drawn in, so these 3 squares, that we can't extend that into this square. And that's because the 2, if we did, let's say we did that, the 2 segments that we've now got in box 9 would have to sum to 45 because of the secret, but that's impossible because the only segments the maximum size of a segment is 20, and if this was a 20 plus a 20, we would only reach 40, which is not enough for the total of the box. So I think, again, we've got to do this, and then this becomes a corner of the snake. So we actually get this sort of chevron effect going through box 9, which is lovely. And this digit is a 1 or a 5, because that's a single cell segment of the snake. And that, I want to say that's got to be a 5. That might be wrong. But if each segment, there are 3 segments in this box, and in total they sum to 45. So how could this possibly be a 1? That would require these 2 segments to sum to 44, and that just doesn't exist. There's no possible combination we can use, because every segment apart from literally a digit 1 is a number divisible by 5, and 45 is divisible by 5. So I think we start by writing 5 in here. Now this is potential lunacy. Oh, goodness. Well, it's good because it's correct, but it's jolly bad because it's done nothing. I was expecting we might learn a bit more about quadruple clues. So, right, well, okay, but no, it has done one thing. That being a 5 segment means that this is a 20 segment and this is a 20 segment. That's the because 20 is the largest segment, and we need two 20 segments to make sure the overall box adds to 45. So this is a 20 segment. These contain 7 and 9. I wonder if we can... If you put 9 on this segment, it would have to be... No, it can't be 9 on this segment. Because if we put 9 on this segment, we know this segment sums to 20. So the other 4 digits would be 1, 2, 3, and 5, because that's the only way of making 4 different digits in Sudoku add up to 11. And that would repeat the 5 in the box. So there is a 9 on this segment, along with 2 more digits that sum to 11, which are not 5, 6, and they're not 2, 9. So this is either 4, 7, 9 or 3, 8, 9. 4, 7 or 3, 8. So 1 and 2 are on this segment, as is 6, because 6 can't be part of the 11 sum. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of coordination between 7 and 9 and 1, 2 and 6. Box 8. Box 8, how does that work? So that's going to have 8 snake cells on it, including the digit 8. So one cell in box 8 is not snaked. Well, okay, I'll tell you something about that. It's not that cell. That cell is snake. Because if this cell was unsnake, whatever the correct description of that sort of cell, let's say this was an unsnake cell, then we know that the rest of the cells in this box would all be snake, and we'd have created a pond in the middle of the grid. And remember, we're not allowed ponds. So this is snake. So I'll give it a circle. Oh, my phone's buzzing. Oh, that's fine. That's not going to be it, is it? Okay, so how does box 6 work? So box 6 has got six snake segments, one of which is a 6. Okay, no, I'm not actually. Maybe I've got to think about smaller. I've got to put only one snake segment in here. Okay. Yes, I see. Right. So because the snake starts and ends in box 4, how could you... Yeah, there is one snake segment in box 1. Which one is that? Which cell of box 1 could possibly be a snake segment, given it's only got one cell on the snake? Well, obviously these are all ruled out, because if the snake gets to those places, it's going to take more than one cell in box 1. But what even about this square or this square? If it takes that square, the only way that could be on the snake is if it's a snake end, because it can't turn. It's only allowed to take one cell in this box, so that is the snake cell in this box, and that is a corner of the snake. And therefore the snake does that. And this square, I was going to say, this is a 1. Is that a 1, or is... Oh, it could be a 5, couldn't it? Hang on, let me just go back to the list, scroll down the instructions. This is a 1 or a 5, because it's a 1-cell sequence. Oh, no, it's a 1. It's a 1, because in box 1, you have to put a 1 on the snake. So we're going to get another digit here. Now, hang on, this is exciting. We have got, yes, we have got a 3 in one of those. We've got one of the 2. There are only 2 snake segments in box 2. So does the snake have to do that? Or could it do... So it's either going to do that. I can see that as a definite possibility. But what about something like that? Why? No. Alright, that's tricky. This doesn't work, which makes me think that it is actually going to be this. And the reason that this doesn't work is that there I've created two segments in box 2, which would have to be the numbers 1 and 5, because a single cell segment can't add up to 10, 15 or 20. And neither of these square, well, yeah, I mean, we'd either get a clash of ones if this was a 1-5 pair, or we could use the argument that there's no 2 in the two snake segments that appear in box 2. So let me just think about this though. Is there anything else you could do? You clearly can't. You can't go up here. That's your two segments, and you're not allowed to go back into box 1. So we have to, and because the snake doesn't end in box 2, we have to get out of box 2. And we've just proved we can't do that because the only other cell we could then take is that one. So I think you have to do that and then go. And therefore, yeah, this is going to be, well, one of these is a 2. That's definitely true. I'm just thinking, does this have to be 2, 3? But no, it could be 2, 8. So this is either a 2 and a 3, or a 2 and an 8 adding to 10. 2 and 3 to 5, or 2 and 8 to 10. I don't think anything else is possible there. And then we come into box 5. But now, okay, I see. So now, but now let's look at box 3, because box 3 I've got to put 3 snake segments into. Well, given that the only box we can escape box 3 into is box 6 now, because box 2 has had all its snake segments and has no spare segments along this wall, so we can never do this. So the only possible ways for the snake must go in and out of box 3. So I want to say it has to do that, because if it didn't do that, if it went to wandering and had a meander, it went more centrally into box 3, then it's going to take at least 4 squares to get out. So it can't do that. I think it's got to sort of hug the perimeter of box 3, if you like. So that means, this is good actually, because that means one of these is a 3, which means that these don't include 3, which means that this is now a 2-8 pair. These 3 digits have got to add up to something that's not 5, because you can't make 3 different digits add to 5. If it was 10 without using a 1, it would be 2, 3, 5, which doesn't work, so it's not 10. If it's not 20. It's not 20, because 20 in 3 digits using a 3 would have to be 3, 8, 9, and that's not possible. So it must be 15, which means the other 2 digits that are not 3 add up to 12, and they are not right. They're not 3, 9, and they're not 4, 8. So they are 5, 7, I think. Now, that's not 5 by Sudoku from this digit. These squares in the gaps of row 3 are 4s, 6s and 9s, I'm going to claim. And we're going to also claim... well, I don't know what else we're going to claim, but... I feel like I've got an awful lot of the real estate I'm allowed in box 6. I've got 6, well, I'm allowed 6 snake cells in box 6, and I've found 5 of them, so I'm only allowed 1 more. And I've got to somehow join up all these ends or get them out of the box. Now, well, yeah, okay, this one here, this cell, how could that turn? If it turns, clearly the snake can't go now close here, so it has to go there. And now I've taken 7 cells in box 6. So this doesn't turn, and now it goes down here, and now I've had all my six. I've had my 6 snake segments. So right, here's another interesting thought. Therefore, I think this has to close. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted by the fact that I've got a pond in the middle of my snake now. So these 3 digits here, or 3 cells, are not. They're definitely not on the snake, but they have to get to the perimeter. So they have to get to the perimeter out of that little cul-de-sac. That now closes. This now closes. This now turns. This is brilliant, isn't it? Oh, this is brilliant because now, yes, because the pond has to get to the perimeter. It stops this going down here, so it's going to force this to close. This is beautiful. So, well, what does this mean? Right, that digit is where we're meant to look, isn't it? That is a 1-cell segment. So it contains a 1 or a 5. It doesn't contain a 5, so that is a 1. Yes. Oh, what is that? What's the right-hand number there? Is that a 6 or an 8? And do I care? Well, I think the left one is a 4. So there is a 4 in one of those. But the right-hand one... Well, it's definitely not 3, 5 or 7, is it? There's no way that's a 5. And if that's true, then these 2 digits are a 4, and then either 6 or 8, I think. I always worry actually about these puzzles where things are partially revealed under the fog, and I worry about how much I'm allowed to assume as a solver in terms of, you know, the particular graphics and even the font that's used. You know, am I allowed? Because to me, and this could be total nonsense, and everyone else might say, no, Simon, that's clearly wrong. To me, that looks more, the thing on the right looks more like a 6 than an 8. And I really hope that that's not something I'm meant to know. Oh, 3, look, is in one of those squares I've just noticed, because there's a 3 there and there's a 3 here. Okay, so I presume what I'm meant to do is to... Actually, maybe I shouldn't presume anything. What I was going to say is I'm going to be able to work out what these segments are. This one on the right can't be a 5 segment. If it was a 10 segment, given it can't contain a 1, it would be 2, 3, 5, which would be very useful, because that would make this a 7, that a 3, that a 5. And now that could work, probably. 2 would be down here. Okay, but what else? Oh, 15 or 20. Well, they're quite likely to be very possible. What about the 2-cell segment then? That could be... It can't contain a 1, so if it's 5, it's a 2, 3 pair. If it's 10, it's not 1, 9, so it's either 2, 8, 3, 7, or 4, 6. I suppose it could be 15, couldn't it? It could be 7, 8, or 6, 9. Ah, there's a 6. There's a 6 on one of these segments by the rules. Oh, and there's a 6 on here. So if there was a 6 in one of those 3, this would have a 6. Oh, there could still be 6, 4 or 6, 9. Okay, so we're going to have to do something else, I fear, here. What about one? Sudoku on ones? No. What about those? These dominoes are quite tricky actually, because they still have, I think, 3 different possible totals, which are 5, 10 and 15. And this one contains, well, this one contains the head and the tail of the snake, as well as a 4 on a snake cell. This one, oh, this one has a 5 on a snake cell. Ah, okay. I don't know if this matters, but something I've noticed is I can't put 5 here on this segment. Because if I put 5 on here, it can't then add up to 5. It can't add up to 10 because it would be 2 5s and break Sudoku. And it can't add up to 15 because it would be a 5 and a 10. And 10 is not a Sudoku digit. There is a knowledge bomb for you. So that means that wherever the rest of the segments are, but it could be a 1-cell segment, couldn't it? A 1-cell 5 would work. Well, that might have to be there. That being a 5, is that possible? Maybe. This, we can't close the snake here, so the snake doesn't go upwards. How am I meant to do this then? What is it I'm meant to be appreciating? I've got to get blue to the boundary, which means that blue has to get out of box 5. Probably. Hang on. Let me think about this. So if... that clearly doesn't work, actually. Oh, okay. Okay. So at least I can see something by considering that. If we consider blue, blue has to get to the perimeter. So it is a pond that touches the perimeter of the puzzle. Now, can blue if we look at box 5's geometry, we know box 5 has 5 snake cells in it. Therefore, it has 4 ponds in it, or 4 cells that could be pond, 4 blue cells. Now, are those 4 cells those? I'm going to claim no. Because if these were the 4 blue cells in box 5, let's just show you why I think this is a problem. These 3 are therefore snake. Our pond has not got to the edge, and our pond could go here in box 8, where it would finish, because box 8 has 8 snake cells in it. So we'd have an internal pond. So that doesn't work. Now, yeah, sorry. And the reason I was interested in this is I'm trying to think about this square, because I can see that this square, if it's snake, has to be a corner, and this square, if it's blue, I'm going to try and prove it's not blue. So we've looked at one possible arrangement. If we make this blue? How else could we get blue to touch the perimeter? Now what we could do is do that, and then somehow escape through box 4. Well, that definitely doesn't work, because this square is therefore snake, and it would be a snake end. So we can dispense with that as a possibility. So the only other way I think that we can get 4 blue cells to get out of box 5 is like this. And I think that makes that a snake end. So I am going to allege that this square is snake. And I'm just going to give that, I'm just going to pause and just consider whether I've missed an option there. Is there any other way of constructing a path? I don't think so. I don't even think it's very close to being possible. So assuming that's right, and I think it is, this square is snake and is a corner. So the snake goes up here and then it turns, and look what this does to our pond. So our pond has to go here. Our pond still hasn't managed to traverse, so it goes there. And now this square, well, that cannot be snake because it would be a snake end. So that's got to be blue. This is it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Now this square is therefore snake, and I want to say that means that, but I'm just hesitant because I'd seen the possibility earlier of it doing that. I'm not sure, but what I have noticed is my pond is still isolated in the middle of the grid, so I'm still going to go further with my pond. Okay, so now, well now, no, that's not true. Well, yeah, hang on. How could this be pond now? If that's pond, then the rest of box 8 is snake, and that pond is definitely surrounded entirely by snake. So that square is definitely... It's definitely snake, but I don't think that means anything. We could still do something like that, couldn't we? It's tricky, actually. It's quite tricky, this. I don't really know quite how to do this. Let me think. Where is the next obvious place to look? I know something. I don't know if it's useful, but I know something. I have to put 5 on a snake cell in box 5, so it's in one of those, isn't it? Because we worked out it wasn't in there. So that very much means this could be... See, this is the thing I'm sort of wondering about. And that would have to dip down here. I don't know. I mean, that might not be valid for some reason that people can see. I mean, if we do go there, then this becomes a corner. I'm not sure. I wonder if we can... Yeah, okay, there's one thing I can do here. It's sort of... what puzzle does this remind me of? Yeah, is it simple loop puzzles? Or, no, I know what it is. It's Yagellin. This is a Yagellin trick. What would happen if this square was a pond? I don't think that can happen. Because the point here is that this snake has a choice of directions to go in, but it must go in both directions to stop there being an end of a snake. So to stop this being a snake end, it has to traverse there. But then that becomes a cul-de-sac. So this square here is definitely thingy. It's definitely snake. So, okay. So we're working out... We've managed to get the pond cell. The pond cell in box 8 is now one of 3 positions only. But, so if the pond cell is here, we'd connect this up. This would be a corner. that would be a corner. We get sort of a W pentomino. I think there's still many ways that works. What am I missing here? I know that the 7 in box 7 has to be on the snake, and it's obviously in one of those 4 squares. Ah, no, maybe. Right, what about if that was a pond? Am I wrong, or does that give a problem? I think that gives a problem, because this is now a corner, so we have to do that. We have to do that. Oh no, that might be fine then. Oh, bother. It could be, there could be some generic rule here that I'm not appreciating. I mean, I can see if I do that, that has to be a 1. Because it's a 1 cell segment, and it couldn't be a 5. And then, so if this is a 1, all the other segments that we can build are going to be segments that divide exactly by 5. So this could be a 4, or possibly a 9 if we had like I don't know, a 20, 15, 1. This would be a 9. Oh, actually, I have spotted this doesn't work. That one's cul-de-sac now. Oh, well, that's good. Okay, let's unwind then. So this doesn't work, but not for the reasons I first thought. I thought it failed in box 8. It actually, that one fails here by forcing this to be cul-de-saced. So that's good, because that means that square is now a circled square, which means we're down to one of 2 squares, which is the pond. Now, if that's the pond, I think we're going to run into more problems, aren't we? Because now this is snake. So the snake has to run underneath the pond. Actually, hang on a minute. 1 second while I try and work out why that's a problem. I actually can't see why that's a problem. Well, maybe it's a problem because we have to get this pond to the edge, so that has to go there. And now, yeah, well, it's certainly constrained at least. It's very constrained. Oh no, I've seen a way that works. That's ridiculous. Right, there's a... Well, I mean, just to explain what I was thinking. This pond has to get to the edge, but in getting to the edge through box 7, most of box 7 is covered with snake because there's 7 snake cells in box 7. Now, so how does this get to the edge? It can't go there because that's going to create a totally internal pond surrounded by snake on all sides. So the only way this gets out is going up. And now, it's still not, don't forget, it's still not got to the edge. So if this is snake at this point, so this can't be snake, this would have to be blue. And therefore, it looks like this is broken, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. I think we can still do that. Now that might fail for some reason. I mean, there could be a technical reason that's failing to do with... Oh, wait, no, okay. Hang on a minute. That that doesn't work. Ah, that's beautiful. This is so clever, this puzzle. This puzzle is it's so smart. Right. What's the reason this fails? The reason this fails is because we can come back and think about box 7, can't we? Because this is the only way that this could have been a pond. So, but now look at the horrible position we've ended up in. We have got all of these 7 cells as snake cells, but none of them are snake end cells. So how does that work? Well, the only way we've got an entrance to box 7 here. We're going to have to pick up all the cells and then exit, but that's going to give us a 7-cell segment. And the triangle number for 7 is 28. That's too many. There's no way we can create a second segment in here. Is that the point? Actually, maybe that's the point all along. We have to have at least 2 snake segments. Because we've got, yes, whenever you've got 7 cells of snake in a box, you must have at least 2 snake segments, which means you must cut the border of box 7. I want to say 4 times at least. Yeah, I mean, that's effectively what we've got in box 5, isn't it? We worked out for other reasons that there were 2 snake segments in box 5, and if we see count how many times the border is cut, 1, 2, 3, 4. So box 7 has to have 4 border cuts. And that's a nice way of disproving this as a possibility. There's 1 border cut here, there's a maximum of 2 border cuts there, and that is not equal to 4. So let's go all the way back, because we've now proved this square is snake, and that means, well, it means this is pond. It means the snake does this. Now, does this work is the next question. And the answer to that is I don't know yet. That's definitely true, what we've just done there. Still not quite sure I know. I mean, I think that there is a reason that this is not true. But it's quite a weird reason. Because if you do that, you have to do that, don't you? And we can't close these up, so you have to do that. And now we've got 2, we know that there must be 2 boundary cuts there. Oh, maybe this works. No, maybe this works like that. Oh, I don't believe it. That's sheer lunacy. Okay, all right, that my idea didn't work. Well, my idea's working, but I don't understand. I don't understand how to... Wow, okay, I don't quite know. I can't say for sure that what I just showed there was impossible, so I better not assume it is. Okay, so where do we go? This square, we worked out, was either... Well, actually, that square is a single cell segment now. So that is a 1. Yes. Okay, good. So this is not a 1. This is gorgeous. Right. No. So we can't now isolate this as a 1 cell segment because it sees 1 and 5. So what we can't do is that, because that's going to make that a corner and make it a 1 cell segment. So we mustn't do that, so we must do that, so we must do that. Now we've got a 5 cell segment and a 2 cell segment. So the 5 cell segment, hang on. Oh, we've got it, right. The 5 cell segment can't add up to more than 20, but doesn't include a 1 on it. Well, the triangular number for 6 is 21. So imagine you knocked a 1 out of the sequence 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. What would you get? You'd get 20. So this is, these digits are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These squares are 7, 8, and 9. And this one has to add up to something useful. Does this have to be 7, 8? Because it's got to add up to a number that's... well, it can't add up to 10, obviously, and it can add up to 15. I think it must add up to 15. And that puts 9 here, and that clears the fog. So we're slowly but surely understanding this. These squares don't include 5. Why did I say? Okay, there's a 9 in here, so that I can get the 9 over here. Here we go. Here we go. These squares had to add up to 11, didn't they? So they were 4, 7, or 3, 8. I'm actually going to put the options in. 4, 7, or 3, 8. So there's a sort of virtual 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yes, the way to do this is to note that 7 and 7 appear in those squares, so there can't be a 7 in here as well, because then, if there was, imagine there was a 7 here, and there's a 7 there, and there's a 7 there. Then we can ask the question, how many 7s are there in the last 2 rows of the grid? And the answer is there's 3 7s. 1, 2, 3. There can't be 3 7s in 2 Sudoku rows. That will definitely break the rules of Sudoku. You will repeat a 7 in at least one row. So, this domino doesn't contain 7. So this contains 3 and 8, and that tells us that that's 7. This is 8. It's working. This now doesn't have 3 in it. So now we know the nature of this, don't we? This is 1, 2, 6, 4, and 7. That's not 7. Let's get rid of that. We can get rid of these circles now, I think. I think the circles are unnecessary, so we'll clean up our act, clean up our snake, and try and think harder about what to do. So, sorry, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing exactly what I have to do here. I realise that's probably my ineptitude, but... Oh, so 2... In fact, that's interesting. Where are 2 and 3 in column 6? I was going to talk about where 2 was in column 6, but I've got a 3 pencil mark here as well. So looking at this column now, 2 and 3 are in those squares. Right, that stops this domino being a 2-3 pair. So this domino is now adding up to either 10 or 15. If it's 15, it would have to be 6, 9 now, because 7, 8 are looking at this square. This can't be a 5, 2, 3 triple anymore, adding up to 10. So this sequence adds up to 15 or 20. I'm not sure. Oh dear, sorry. I've got a horrible feeling we're going to have to think about... I'm going to have to somehow work out what's going on down here, aren't I? In box 7. Where we worked out... we needed at least 4 cuts of the border of box 7. Because we must have at least 2 segments in box 7. And the snake must be continuous through. Yeah, so that feels difficult. If I do that... Actually, I'm not sure now. Sorry, I can't. So that's a second. Oh, okay. I'm looking at this cell here. I'm noticing it can't do that. That might be all I'm managing to notice. In fact, that's very much impossible for two reasons. This is a one cell segment and would need to be a 1 or a 5, which it couldn't be. And this would then be a one cell segment as well. And this square here also can't be 1 or 5. See, there's a 1 in the column and a 5. I've got pencil marked in one of those 3 squares. So that feels like I ought to be able to deduce something from that. So if we come in here, we can't go up, which means we must go there. This can't be a one cell segment, so we must go there. So I've got to cut the boundary twice, so I'd have to do that. And then if I drop down there, the bottom segment can't get out. So I'd have to close it like that, and I'd have to do that. That's the only way it could work. Now, is that wrong or right? Sorry, there's a siren going on outside. Actually, that's really nice. Look at the way I've now actually got 4 snake cell segments in box 4, which is what I'm meant to have. Oh. Golly, I mean, the other reason this looks quite persuasive is I've got a 1 cell segment there that can't be a 5, so that would be a 1, and I've got a 1 cell segment here that can't be a 1, and that could be a 5, so these could be a 1-5 pair in this paradigm and not break the puzzle. So I almost feel that that's likely to be correct. So maybe I've actually got to think about why this is incorrect. There's a chorus of people shouting at me from the future saying, of course that's incorrect, because can't you see this? Well, okay, if we're in this world, I've only cut the border of box 7 once, so I've got to have 3 more cuts of the border, so I've got to do that, which is quite a strange thing to have to do. And now that's a corner, so you've got to do that. This can't close, so you've got to do that. Now, why is this a problem? I've got to make sure I leave 2's worth of pond in box 7. And that's going to mean don't know, it seems like you could do that. No, you can't do that. Oh, wow. Hang on, I've had another thought, completely unrelated thought, which is about if I have 7 and 9 on the same 5 cell segment like that, that won't work. Because 7 and 9 add up to 16 already, and once I add three more digits, even if those digits are tiny and 1, 2, and 3, I'm breaking my cap of 20 for a line segment. So I can't wiggle here. I'd have to go straight down, and then I'd have to do that. Now, I mean, the thing I'm noticing there is that this is still finishing in this position. So either way, the 2 options both end up with a finish in this position. And that digit is always going to be a 1, therefore. I mean, I'm going to check that. I'm not prepared to write that in. But I think when we looked at this the other way round, we ended up with the snake ending in this place. Yeah, because, yeah, I suppose another way of thinking about this is that because we can't create one cell line segments in either of these two positions, we can never have two cuts of the border here and here. So these two possible places for a border cut, only one of them is allowed, and therefore we must always have border cuts here and here. And once you have a border cut here and here, this left-hand one is always going to be a snake end. That I'm pretty certain is true. I can't see another possible way of that not being true. So okay, so let's keep an eye on this square. I think that this is an end of the snake and is a 1 because it can't be a 5. But let's just go back through our earlier logic where I was thinking about this not closing here and this continuing like this. And what we worked out is in this situation you could never close here. Because you'd end up with too many one cell segments in either column 3 or row 6 or row 7. It doesn't work in any of those positions, so you have to do that. And again, we need more cutting of the border of box 7 to have enough line segments, so you have to do this. We've now got our 4 segments in box 4 again, and this square here is a 1. Now let's unwind this and write 1 in here because it's valid. That's correct. Now, and I'm going to also claim it's the end of the snake because the snake's either doing this or doing this. And this is an end. And well, this is an end, is the corollary of that, because these two are definitely on the snake. And if that's an end, it's a one cell segment, and that is a 5. Oh, now, is that an 8? There's definitely a 3 in here. I mean, this is still difficult, isn't it? I've just seen I've gone over the hour. Oh, there's a 1 in one of those. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to think about, is whether I could avoid the 5 cell segment down there. That might be possible to think about as a thing. I think that must be an 8. What other digit could this right digit be? I don't think it could be a 9. Doesn't look like a 9, but maybe it could be. This is a worry. I mean, I'm not going to assume it's anything. I'm not going to assume it. I'm going to try and finish it without knowing what this is until I can reveal this digit. Okay. So let's go back to considering this. This was one of the options I was looking at, wasn't it? Which was that. But why is that even in any way problematic? And then you'd have to do this. You'd have a sort of Z pentomino, which would include a 9 actually. And it would include it's it. That's it. Right, this is ruled out. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous logic. This is such a clever puzzle. Right. So one thing, when we were looking at this before, I noticed that this whole foursome, this whole 2x2, included a line segment, and I saw it was a 5 cell line segment, and that couldn't exist in the puzzle because it would have 7 and 9 on it. But let's examine this line segment a little, because the 9 is definitely in this domino, so that's definitely on this line segment. But in this box, the 7 is definitely on the snake, and therefore the 7 is not able to go here and would go here, and now there's a 7 and a 9 on this segment along with 3 other digits, which are therefore going to take it up too high. So it's not this. And sorry if you've all been shouting at me about that, but I've only just understood. So what we now learn is that this doesn't cross this boundary. We must close here. And now, how many times have we managed to cut box 7? Once, twice. We need 3 and 4. And now this is a corner of the snake. This can't close. We must turn down. And then we do the logic we did before, which is that's impossible because it would make a 5-cell segment with 9 and 7 on it. So we have to close there. We mustn't create an internal pond here. So we must do that. And that is how the snake... That is the snake. In fact, let me just think about that. I think I've done it. We have built the snake. That is how the snake must look. And we know that there is a 7 on the snake. That is a 7. We know that... Well, what else do we know? What else do we know? If that's a 7, none of those are a 7. There is a 7. There is a 7 here, apparently. That's not going to clear fog, though. That's not a 7. Oh, how annoying. Okay. So we've got a 4-cell segment here. Well, and we've got to make sure, actually, we can probably deduce the value of these squares, roughly. Because there are 2 squares there. But they don't have to add up to anything in particular. But they have to, they're the sort of the corollary of whatever these segments. There's a 4-cell segment and a 3-cell segment. So, right. But these can't add up to 15, can they? Because 7, 8 and 6, 9 are not possible. So, yeah, the possible values of these segments, this 4-cell segment here and this segment here, none of them could add up to 1 or 5. So it's 10s, 15s and 20s. And that means the rump of digits, these 2 digits, have to add up to a multiple of 5 because overall this box adds up to a multiple of 5. We've worked out these can't add up to 15. If they are, they don't add up to 10. Because if they added up to 10 without being 3, 7, 1, 9 or 2, 8, what would they be? 4, 6. And that means all of these 3 squares would only be selected from 1 and 2. And there are 3 of them, so there would be a repeat. So this doesn't add up to 10. So this adds up to 5. Right, it adds up to 5, and it can't be 1, 4 for exactly the same reason it couldn't be 4, 6. If it's 1, 4 here, this becomes 2. These are only selectable from 2 and 6. So this is a 2, 3 pair, I think. And that means I get to place a 1. I hope this is right. Oh, it is right, but it didn't do anything. Well, it gave me a 2 here by Sudoku. It's working. This is 1, 4, 6. So this digit is known to be a 5. We can take 5 out of these squares. That can take. This is a 4, 6 pair now. So this is a 2, 3 pair. If we got oh no, I thought maybe we'd have roping. We don't have roping at all. That's nonsense. But we do now, or we do now know these. Oh, 9 must be there by Sudoku. So this digit is also known. That's also 5 by Sudoku. And these squares are 4, 6, and 8. They're all even. But we can presumably, well, yes, we can't add up a line segment to more than 20, so this one has to be a 4. Let's check this works. So 6, 8, 14 and 5, 1 is 20, so that works. That was an 8, look. So there is an 8 in here now. But there is also a 4. Because that's one of the rules, and that 4 goes here. And now that can't be a 3 or an 8. It wouldn't add up to the right number for a line segment. So this is a 3, 8 pair. And this segment, it can't add up to 5 because we need a 1. It's probably got to be a 6, I think. I think it's got to be a 6. Didn't clear any fog, but maybe the fog is too far away. 6 is now not in those squares. So 6 is in this square, so there's no 6 here. Okay, these squares are 2, 7 and 9. I don't know if we can do it any better with that. Now, where shall we look next? We need to put 3, 2, 3 and 8 into these squares. So that's not 3. Don't know. It's slightly surprising to me that this finishes from here. That probably means I've not used one of the rules properly. So, where do we look for that? This domino has to add up to... Well, I don't think I know, do I? Do I know what this adds up to? If it's 15, it's 7, 8. Is that a problem? I don't know. If that's 7, 8, then the 2 in the row goes there. And this would be 2, 5 and something adding up to... it could be... No, it couldn't be 2, 3, 5 because there's the 2 and the 3 are in this column. So if that's 2, it would be 2... Yeah, I don't think that works. It's quite complicated though. And I'm not sure how much it proves. What I think I'm able to prove is that this is not a 15 segment. Because if it is, we put 7 and 8 into it. The 2 in row 6 is therefore here. And this is 2, 5 adding up to 7 and one more digit, which can't be 3. So it would have to be an 8. And I've just said that this is a 7, 8 pair, so it doesn't work. That's complicated though, isn't it? So this isn't a 15. Now it could be a 2, 3, could it? Probably. I can't see why not. Or it could be numbers adding up to 10, in which case it's either 2, 8 or 3, 7. Okay. Oh, that's not 5, I've just seen. Is that helpful? Oh, no, I was about to say something that's not true. Tends to be something I should avoid. It does tend to get picked up on when I say anything illogical. This is sort of... this is the ultimate finder of Dr. Spock's, this channel. Oh, that's not a 1? It's probably Sudoku, isn't it? That's probably how I'm meant to finish this off. Or can I say that because there's a 6... Oh. Well, no, I don't like that thought. I was thinking, could I prove what this is? Could this be a 20? If it's a 20, it's a 6, 5, 9 triple. That looks possible, doesn't it? Okay, so it's not. That's not the correct thought. I'm sorry if you can all see this. I apologise. Oh, Simon, what is it I'm meant to look at here? This is bizarre. Is it? No, I've got my pond out here. Because we can effectively colour in most of the pond now, can't we? Well, we can. The whole pond area is that. So all ponds have got to the edge. There's a pond here. Yeah, so I think pond-wise we're happy. So it's not that part of the rules. It's going to be some segmentation. Oh, maybe I can get that digit approximately. Because... are we saying these 3 add up to a multiple of 5? I think we are, aren't we? So we're on a multiple of 5 by the time we get to these digits. And this, which means this is a 1, which could mean this is a 9. Could mean this is a 4. Ah, no, 4 doesn't work. Maybe this is a 9. Maybe that's what I can prove. And maybe that's going to reveal something under the fog. Okay. And that would be very helpful, actually. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, so all I've got to do is to think about the value of this digit. But each individual segment here, you see, this could be a 5 or a 10 or a 15. This could be... Yeah, I don't see how that segment, that section of 7 cells, each individually can never be a 1. So they are adding up to a multiple of 5. The whole row adds up to a multiple of 5. So this digit plus this digit must be a multiple of 5, which means this is 4 or 9 and is 9. There we go. Boo. Oh, I didn't do anything. But that logic was good. I enjoyed thinking about it. Now we've got a 9 and a 6. So this must be 9, 5, 6. And that maybe that's the maybe that is what does it. So that's 5, that's 6, that's 3, that's 7. That's 5. This was 4, 6. I can't remember what I thought it was, what it was going. I think I did think it looked like more like a 6 than an 8, but I can't remember. Okay, this is, where's 4 in column 9? It's right at the bottom. So that's 4, that's 6, that's 1. This is a 1-8 pair. So these squares are 9 and something. 9 and 2. We can do the order. That's going to clear fog. Yes, it did. It did clear fog. That's no longer a 2. So I've now got the only place for 2. Look, can gradually see we're gradually clearing the fog. Okay. So perhaps... I'm not sure. Perhaps we can get more of a handle on this now. This is now... I did work out that wasn't 7, 8, didn't I? So this isn't 15. And if it's... I've still got loads of options. That's really strange. Oh, 6 there is helpful. So that's 6, that's 4. So 4 is now not on this line. I must be able to get this. How do we do this? In this column, we need 2s, 3s, and 8s. Now, so this could be a 2-3 pair, possibly. I'm not sure if that's right, but I can't think why it isn't. And if it's not, then this is still... this would be an 8, and that can't go with 7 for reasons we talked about. So this would be an 8-2 pair. So this can never be a 3-7 pair, apparently. Why is that? No, it could be. Why couldn't it be that? If that's 3, why couldn't that be 7? And the answer to that is I don't know. So this is either 3-7, 2-8, or 2-3. So, and whichever version of that it is, there is a 2 or a 3 in one of these squares. Sorry, that's Maverick flying past. No doubt you've heard Maverick there. I don't know what that means. Let's think about... Is it something to do with what digit I've got to put somewhere on these lines? Oh, I don't know. This... We worked out this couldn't be 2, 3, 5, didn't we? So this is either adding up to 15 or 20. And it's got 5 on it. If it's 20... it would have to be 7, 8, or no, it would have to be 5, 7, 8. This would have to be a 7, 8. This would become 2, 3. I don't know, does that give us a problem? Ah, 3 is not there. Oh, sorry. Look, there's a 3, 8 here. Looking at that square, that could be helpful. Yeah, that's going to be helpful because now there's no 2 on this line. So this line, it is 3, 7. It can't. Oh well, I did think it couldn't be 8, 7. I'm now doubting that. If this was 8, 7, yeah, that doesn't work. If this is 8, 7, 2 and 3 in the row have to be both on this line, but 2 and 3 in this column are in those squares. So this is 3, 7, and the only place for 7 is there. So 7, 3, 3, 8. These squares here are 4 and 8, which I now know the order of because of this 3, 8 pair. Now, I really hope this works. This is 2, 5, 8, isn't it? I don't know the order, I don't think. But we can do some tidying up. That's not 8, that's not 5. There's a 2, 8 pair in this column, so this is 3. That's 2. Therefore, that's 2. That's 8. It did clear fog, so that's a good sign. 5, 2, 8. No 2 in here anymore. This is now a 3 by Sudoku. And this line is not 3, 2. It must be 3, 7 again, the same as that one. Okay. And now in this row we've not included the 4 anywhere, so I'm going to put 4 in. There's no fog getting cleared here, but hopefully that's just because we've cleared the fog enough that we're not expecting any fog to be cleared. Okay, this is 3 and 9. I didn't realise that. That's helpful. 9, 3, 1, 6, 9. So in this column, this digit should be gettable. That should be a 7. In this column, we should have a 1, 1, 8. That becomes a 3. That becomes an 8. That becomes a 3. That did clear fog, thank goodness. So that's a 7. That's a 3. Oh, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. This is now 9. That's going to clear fog. I've got 1 cell left, and I'm going to. Oh no, hang on. Sorry, that's not right. I was looking at that 3 and thinking that was a 3 pencil mark, but the 3 was here as well. So what are these squares? 4, 5, and that's a 5. Whoops. In this row, 7 and 8, which we can do. 7, 8. Cleared the fog, but there was nothing under it. In this column, we need a 4, don't we? 4, 6, 6, 4, 5. That's a quite brilliant Sudoku, but that's not easy actually. At 1 hour 22 minutes. Yeah, that was hard. I really struggled to understand exactly how the snake had to make its way, especially through this box and this box. But some of the logic there was really clever. And I think the selection even of the quadruple clue here, stopping the 5 cell segments, that was wonderful. This is a very high quality puzzle, Jolly Rogers. I'd be very interested to know how long this... In fact, now let's just look at the grid. What was hidden under the fog in this grid? Almost nothing. There's almost nothing there. That was shown ab initio. This wasn't. So there were 3 quadruple clues under the fog, and that's it. That's magnificent, isn't it? It is an absolute worldie. Oh, was it right? Yes. 100 people in 16 days. Very, very good puzzle indeed. Let me know how you got on. Oh yes, and if you're still watching now, please do consider liking the video if you liked it. We'd appreciate that very much. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.